Welcome to Deep Night Revelation. We are going to be picking up where we left off a couple of weeks ago. We took the week off for Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I did. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I had a good holiday. Ate way too much food, but that's that's what the holiday is all about, right?
I won't bring people down.
Yeah, yeah. So where did we leave off? So these guys, Deep Night Revelation, ran into um, a ship, the RSS Frank Wild. It is a exploration ship, a Tenzig-class exploration ship from the Solomani Confederation, and it was badly damaged, wear and tear, misjumping, and in the throes of a mutiny because the captain had been displaced by the political officer aboard, and the crew weren't happy with the way she was doing things, and so there was a mutiny going on. They, the crew of Revelation, the travelers in particular, kind of smoothed that over. I mean, it isn't perfect. It doesn't change the fact that a mutiny happened, but in the process, they were able to band-aid the Frank Wild's jump drive, and they jumped to their rendezvous point in what is being called Point Amundsen, and there were two other of these Tenzing-class ships, the Leonard Husey and the Antherke, and so now, the Solomani Confederation is back together with their expedition, and they basically have talked it out, and they have agreed that they will go forth together. So the agreement was that two of the ships, the Frank Wild and the Leonard Husey, will travel with Revelation to Terminus Point. Or I'm sorry, that is incorrect. The Frank Wild will travel with Deep Night Revelation to Terminus Point, while the Leonard Husey will take whatever letters and data that they want sent back home and begin the long 7+ year journey back to charted space, with the promise that even though there's not current, right now, as far as they know, there's no war going on, and so um, even with bad blood between the Solomani Confederation and the Third Imperium, the leadership of the fleet has agreed that they will pass that data on to the powers that be in the Third Imperium and hopefully the crew's families. And meanwhile, the Antharche will remain here, and they will wait here um, for a certain allotted amount of time. And if Revelation and Frank Wild do not return, at that point, the Antharche will then jump ahead and see if they can't act as a rescue boat, because the assumption will be that things have gone badly and that the travelers and the Frank Wild will be in need of a rescue. And barring that, the Antharche will then turn around and head back home, if assuming that, or whether they find them or not. And so, um, in order for any of this to happen, they are going to set the Antharche, the Husey, and the Frank Wild down on the surface of Amundsen, and effect repairs, which is estimated to take probably about 3 to 4 months. And so Revelation's going to be here for a while, and so that's where we're going to be picking up. Before we get started, we would like to bring attention to the fact that we do have merch store via Zazzle. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, buttons, whiskey rocks glasses, a beer stein. I was going to say a pounder. No, we don't have a pounder glass. But you know what? Now that I think about it, that's not a terrible idea either. We've got a beer stein. We've got poster maps, all sorts of stuff. 100% of the proceeds from that store goes back into our channel. that covers the cost of the little subscriptions such as Roll20 Pro and Incarnate Pro and things like that. Even the software that we use to make these videos. So if you're enjoying the show and you want to help us out, go over to Zazzle and get a Whiskey Rocks class. They're actually really cool, and the link is in the description below. All right, so you have come to this agreement with the Solomani Confederation ships, and
I don't want. I'm sorry to interrupt,
no, go
but
ahead.
maybe my memory is a little hazy. I don't remember. So I know that we let them know that this, for as far as we're concerned, is a suicide mission.
Right.
But they're on a scientific mission. The ship that's accompanying us, they know that we're throwing lead as soon as we enter system, right? That this is not. We're not going to study a goddamn thing.
Well, that's not necessarily true, though. So, I mean, so the assumption is that, and you guys have already seen this, is that there is, as was stated in the last game by Sarda, is that as this entity grows and becomes it becomes more intelligent and more powerful, right? And so the mission is to essentially stop whatever the entity is doing from sending things, chucking rocks full of itself towards charted space. Whether that be, the ultimate choice where you find a hive of this stuff and you use the 3 pocket nukes that you've got on board to deal with it. That's, of course, the ultimate goal or ultimate decision. The other, of course, being that there is, as we know, it seems to get more intelligent the larger it gets, and so the hypothesis is that whatever you're going to find at Terminus Point has grown to a point where it is intelligent enough that it seems to be knowing what it's doing, and it's purposely doing that, and that would mean that it can be theoretically negotiated with. You don't know what you're going to find when you get to Terminus Point, though, because one, it's even through a telescope, it's a really long way away, and two, there is a huge gravitational anomaly there that nobody knows what that's caused by. One theory is that it's a super giant black hole, or multiple black holes, or black holes orbiting a quasar. Nobody is really sure, but there's a massive gravitational anomaly there, and so that kind of mucks up the sensors too. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to come into system and immediately start firing the spinal mount, because you don't necessarily know what you're going to find. Having said that, yeah, these ships understand that that it could be a one-way mission. They understand that it's going to be lead slinging. I mean, this is the Tenzig-class exploration vessel. They're not huge, 2,000 tons. They do have some weaponry on them. I mean, missile barbettes. That's not nothing. Particle barbettes. So yeah.
And Traveler does not offer us a star killer weapon that makes a star go supernova, right?
Well,
because
I mean,
that'd be really fucking handy.
I mean, the Darians have something like that, but no, there's nothing like that aboard Revelation. So yeah, you don't have any Death Star type weapons.
We used to always joke about that with Star Trek. That one episode where they sent a probe into a sun and blew it up. They're like, they didn't even need a Death Star, man. They can.
Right? Yeah. Like, how powerful are these probes? So yeah, I mean, no, there's nothing like that. And I joke and I say the Darians have something like that. So, and I don't know, Jack, if you know the lore about the Darians, but The Darien Confederation is very, very close. The Sword Worlds kind of is in between it and the Third Imperium, right? The Darians had a super, super high tech level. So if the pinnacle in the Imperium is like tech level 15, the Darians were like 16 or 17, and they got, I guess, complacent and ballsy at the same time. And so they did a test for some kind of experiment on their own star in their home system and ended up causing it to. It didn't go complete. It was an output of an explosion that was like a supernova, but the star itself didn't blow. But the effect, of course, wiped out a lot. And so they were basically knocked from tech level 17 down to like tech level 6 overnight, and then spent a long time pulling themselves out of that hole to now be. I think their average tech level now is like 13 or 14, but they're slowly regaining their higher tech level. So like I said, jokingly, yeah, it exists, and of course the Darians won't pass that information on. They're like, no, nobody should have this. So yeah, it's in the game. It's just not available to you, and it's not something that would be carried aboard Revelation. But these guys, they of course their ships are armed. They're at 2010s. They're not even registering as a blip on on Revelation's danger meter, but they're the Solomani troops. They have small arms. They've got equipment. They are ready and willing to assist, and it's like their captain said, or one of their captains, is that it from what your description of the creature is, or this entity is that it doesn't care if somebody is Third Imperium or Solomani or Jodani. It doesn't care. It will it will wipe out anybody and everything.
Yeah.
So
if biological, I will eat you.
Right. It is as much the Solomani Confederation's problem as it is yours. This should be everybody's problem. It shouldn't be a political thing. This is an issue, and so they have agreed to go along with you. Like I said, of course, that means that you will have to set down on Amundsen, and Amundsen isn't really too bad of a planet. Got a couple of continents, polar poles, and this world kind of it wouldn't necessarily be like it's almost a garden world. It's more like primordial. A lot of the fauna, most of the world is covered in large megaflora, huge jungles. The areas that aren't forested jungle are grassy plains where the grass grows 12 feet tall. And of course the megafauna of the planet, they are they're megafauna. They're quite large, and that's the only downside, is because some of these creatures may pose a threat, and so it is up to you guys. Where would you like to set up a camp? And the way I will do this is I will just drop a I will draw. As soon as I find it, I'll just drop a Destinex icon wherever you decide that you would like to set up camp and land on this planet.
Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but if we're getting close to the end, we might want to. If we're going to be here for 4 months while we refit this other ship, this might be the last chance we have our people get R&R.
Yeah, for sure. And we frankly may want if some of them want to jump ship, this would be a good time for them to jump ship and join the Solomani, maybe. For any
Yeah.
that are paranoid about going
Right.
all the way.
And correct me if I'm wrong. 'Cause my grasp of the lore is tenuous at best. Isn't this like dropping them off the Soviet Union in the 80s? Isn't that our view of the Solomonis?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I've been rewatching
No,
Stranger
no,
Things, so
no,
the
no, no,
whole
no, 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 no,
Soviet Cold War
no, no,
thing
no.
has been
This
fresh in
is
my memory.
much more like stranding them at the International Space Station with Soviet astronauts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's
But I
true.
mean, right now, I mean, the alternative is we're going someplace to fight something that we don't really know how to fight, that devours absolutely everything and is a mindless.
So it's
Yeah,
funny that you bring that up because I hadn't really thought about it. So you've got two of these powers that really the Volani of the Third Imperium kind of view that way. And the funny thing is that so the first one, the big bad, is the Jodani consulate, and the Imperium views the Jodani as um, they will invade your personal space. They do not respect that you have your own thoughts. They will read your minds. Walking the streets of a consulate city, you never know who is going to be reading your thoughts. They literally have a police department that are the thought police, and they will read people's minds, and if they find a citizen that is unhappy, they will kidnap them off the street and they will send them to a re-education camp and brainwash them until they are happy with their situation. And so that's how the Jodani are kind of looked at, and why one of the reasons that psionics are so banned and outlawed. It
Hasn't stopped us.
right, it hasn't stopped you guys, and the reality is it hasn't stopped Third Imperium either. They've got black ops programs and hidden institutes and all of that stuff. They are dabbling in psionics just as much as anybody else. But the public,
that's what the Trojan Reach is for.
right? That's what the Trojan Reach is for. And so
all their illegal secret experiments. And
yes,
everything
they
else.
just dump them in the remains of a dead empire and call it good. The reality of the Jodani consulate, some of it's true, some of it has a basis in truth. Are there thought police? Kind of, yeah. But are they putting people into gulags? No, because their government, their whole governance plan is that not everybody in the Jodani consulate is psionic. Only the higher up echelons are. You've got them, and then you've got the proles below them, and so you've got this nobility, and part of their duty is to make sure that the citizenry are happy in whatever caste that they are doing. And if they are not, if it is found out that they're not, then they will take them and retrain them to do something that they will be more happy doing. So
Commies, got it.
Yeah, right. I mean, like I said, whether or not all of it is true, I wouldn't say it's all true, but it's very muddled and what is propaganda and what isn't. Meanwhile, to space south, rimward, you've got the Solomani Confederation that they make no bones about it, 100%. I mean, they've got political officers that have the power to take over the ship and displace the captain. They've got this whole, commissar kind of mentality where everybody better be doing their job, and it is our job to ferret out traitors. There's always one amongst you. You're probably trying to form a union. We better put you down. That is a real fact of life in the Solomani Confederation. So, I mean, that's a little weird, but yes. So you're, dropping them off on the International Space Station with an all-Russian crew is very. that's not far from the truth, especially when you're talking about a 2,000-ton ship that's going to be in space for 7 or 8 years. Man. No thanks. I think I'd rather go to Turner's Point.
Well, but considering that some of them wanted to be let out on an asteroid, you're like, this has got to be better than an asteroid, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. So I mean, are you guys
I
going?
don't. I don't know if you want to. Well, I don't know if you want to encourage desertion so much as maybe you just give them the opportunity to stay here.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is they got to realize that once we take off from here, that's it. You're committed. And so that's my thinking is more along those lines
Well,
of
yeah. I mean, do you want to gather the crew and find out? I mean, is that
I mean, it's certainly something that I think should be addressed. That, in the past, folks have been worried about our ultimate mission, and they have discussed the idea of leaving before completing the mission. And if there are people who still feel that way, this is your last chance to leave. It would be you're going to be with the Solomani, and who knows what will happen to you. Who knows if we'll survive? But if we do, we might be able to pick you up on our way back. We don't know. But if folks do have concerns about the mission itself, this is probably your last chance to leave and still be within civilization.
okay?
And so,
Did Mel have anything to add to that?
Uh, I thought that was pretty good. I don't think anyone should leave.
yeah,
A, commies. B, saving the world, saving the universe. But smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Well, damn,
I mean,
that's pretty good.
we did have that one mutiny, right? That one that they wanted to
We
be let
did.
off on that shitty planet. I mean, it was horrible. I was like, really here? This is where you want to be left off?
So
This seems like a bad choice.
so I made that. I guess, for lack of a better term, morale roll with a +3 modifier, and the reason for that is because of that last mutiny. You pretty much got the core group that was basically poisoning the well, and you
Yeah.
moved them off ship. They are now setting. They've got their own little colony of paradise. You know, God knows how many light years back. Even I lost count. They're a couple of years behind you. Um, hopefully flourishing. Anyways, that's where they live. And
Yeah.
so with them removed, and a number of situations, such as once you got into the far side of nowhere, coming basically having some of the comforts of home in these three large interstellar governments that are existing out here. And so morale has actually improved quite a bit. Um, it was at the lowest of the low there right before you made that last push to get across the Great Rift. But since then, a lot of that tension has been released. And so, no, you don't have anybody that wants to. I mean, unless they're going to be ordered to do so, and you don't really have. I mean, even Alexander Venati, who at way back at the beginning of this entire mission was a pain in the ass. Even she has come around and actually has become a fairly good officer. And so, unless you're ordering somebody to say go aboard, once the Leonard Husey goes back to chart his face, unless you're sending them as a designated representative, nobody's volunteering for this.
Yeah. And we're not making anybody get off. It's just that historically in this trip, every time we've been in this situation, the moment we leave, everybody starts talking about how we want to be left off. And
Right.
you're like, you should have thought about it when we were there because
Right.
that was the ideal place to get off.
Yes.
And so it sort of feels like this is our chance to say, hey, this is not a horrible place to get off if you really want to get off. Because once we leave, you're pretty much stuck with us. And so I wanted to get that point across so that 2 jumps from now, we don't all of a sudden have 40 people saying, hey, we don't want to be on this ship anymore.
Right. So part of this too is that some during this meeting of the minds, when you bring this up, and nobody in the crowd. In You're probably in one of the larger or not conference rooms, common areas aboard Revelation, and nobody from the crew volunteers. Nobody says anything. They're all in agreement. They're ready to see this through.
Uh,
And some of the people in the crowd are actually some of the crew from the three Solomani ships, and they kind of listen to you say this, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you guys give your crews options?" And so one
and
of
we
the
pay them too.
right, yeah, we're not a bunch of socialists. Uh, they actually get to own their own property. We don't just sublet it to them. They
Assuming they make it back, they're gonna be rich as shit. They've been collecting wages with nowhere to spend it for quite a
right,
while.
yes, and so the Solomani members bring up that they would like to. They actually approach you, or, publicly in front of all the crew with an idea of what they're referring to as interoperability. They would like to maybe set up some kind of a temporary exchange program where some of the Solomani will work on your ship. If your crew is interested, they can work on some of the Solomani ships. But they downplay that. Really, what they want to do is some of them want to work on your ship. They want to see something other than the inside of their small little 2,000-ton tin cans that they've been in for the past 8 years. And so, I mean, walking around on Deep Night Revelation is like, being stuck in a 700 square foot apartment and getting to go to the mall. Like,
Right.
holy shit, I get to get out. So, they're really interested in this exchange program kind of thing, and their captains have no problem. All three of the captains are there. They're like, why
Well,
not?
sure,
Yeah,
there's
of
they're
course.
commie spies trying to steal our shit.
I think the main person I'm a little nervous about with all this is we have the crew member who is why am I blanking on the
Jodani.
psionic? So that's the main thing is to make sure that we want to make sure that she's not near any of these folks because I don't want her to be detected.
Oh,
You know what I
this
mean?
this is another one for Jack. So the Jodani, of course, they're known for their psionics. The Solomani, on the flip side, they're pretty well known for essentially doing genetics experiments, and they have uplifted some species. So if you remember that Dr. Bocephus was essentially a uplifted dolphin. His species was uplifted by the ancients, who actually, you know, you could say they did it right, although I'm not sure that's really the correct term. But anyways, he was actually a humanoid dolphin. No, they actually have uplifted dolphins, but they didn't change their form at all. So there are these speaking, thinking, sentient dolphins, and they have like rigs that they can wear so that they can
They have
manipulate things,
a
and
tank that they have to be in the
yeah, they
tank.
can they can walk around in a basically it's a big fishbowl on mechanical legs. Another one that they've done, and he actually became one of them became pretty famous in the Trojan Reach as a pirate. They've uplifted apes, and one of them actually just bolted and became a pirate in the Trojan Reach. He was
So in
first mate.
this far future um, universe world, apparently they did not bring the Isle of Dr. Moreau with them when they left Seoul.
No.
The ancients screwed with things quite a
Yeah,
bit.
the ancients already screwed with things. So I mean, the precedent was set, right? Like if these all-knowing, all-powerful aliens from 300,000 years ago could do this shit, it must be okay. We can do it. you know, why not? But yeah, so not only that, but they've genetically altered some of the human species. So, and this isn't unusual. Um, for instance, there are communities of belters. They've been doing it for so many generations that the mutation happens naturally, that they are just more adept in zero G. They're thinner. They're better equipped for zero gravity.
I've read The Expanse.
Right. But that's normal. And then there are other colonies that are on high gravity worlds where they're just beefy, right? Okay. Well, the Solomani have done this on purpose. Oh, we're gonna have a bunch of colonists that live on a are going to live on a water world, so we'll just genetically alter them so that they all have gills and webbed hands and feet, and they, will modify their skin so that they can be in water longer. The Solomani are kind of known for this kind of genetic tomfoolery. So, I mean, it's not like the Third Imperium is perfect, but yeah.
But the main thing is we have to worry that she might be discovered, and I have to worry about possibly being discovered as well. Although that might work to my benefit.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I don't know that it'll work to her benefit.
Because so I don't remember specifically. Did you tell the command crew, the captain and the XO, that she is a Jodani? I don't think you did. No, you kept that to yourselves.
Yeah, we know, and she knows that I'm psionic, and she knows, of course, that the Wes's character was psionic, but that wasn't as big a surprise since he's a race that's known to be psionic. So she has an idea that I am, and so I think the main thing is to make sure that she understands that we're going to try to keep her away from them. But if for any reason she's detected, refer them to me, type thing.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the one thing that I was thinking about was I don't know that the Solomani Confederation, even if they did find out, I don't know that they would care. I mean, possibly they might, like if they're an officer or something, might feel in the auspices of good relations, might suddenly feel the need to report that to the captain or the XO. But on the flip side of that, I don't know that the Solomani would give a shit, because they, for the most part, because they are rimward of the Imperium, and you've got way up coreward and spinward of the Imperium, and really of the Sword Worlds and Darien Confederation. That's where the Jodani consulate is. The Solomani don't have a whole lot of interaction with them. They've never had a conflict like, the Third Imperium's had 4 frontier wars, all of which were always started by the Jodani. Because of where the Third Imperium is, the Solomani were insulated from that, and so they don't really have any direct relations with them. I mean, they probably, their ambassadors probably meet every once in a while in a consulate building somewhere, but other than that, I don't know if they would care. I don't even know that they have the same propaganda and rumors that are told that you guys would have.
I mean, the main thing is that there may be some psionic folks that are on board that will become suspicious if they detect, psionic defenses. So if anything comes up, direct them to me.
That's a question too. I don't know, and I would have to look it up, but this is the first time that I've ever thought about it. I don't know what the psionics laws or status is in the Confederation. I don't know how the Solomani look at that, or if they care. I don't. I would think that they're probably dabbling in it just like everybody else, but I don't know what the public view is. So yeah, I mean, you guys can pick wherever you would like to set up this camp. Yeah, you have no. So part of this too, with this idea of interoperability, and of course the entire ship is abuzz with, hey, we're gonna get to be groundside for like 3 or 4 months. This is gonna be great. Um, the Solomani. And I don't know if. Let's see, what is that? It is that. So the Solomani have a couple of ground-based vehicles that some of the crew are kind of excited about. There is the FAMAT 12. This is basically a big bifurcated bus kind of thing, ATV,
The party bus.
the party bus. And so people are several crew members are kind of excited. They're like, oh, this would be kind of cool to take out. It's a big, huge, beefy, all-terrain vehicle. It's got lab equipment inside. It's got its own airlock. What's not fun about going four-wheeling in a bifurcated bus, right? And the other one that they have is... Gotta find it. Fine. Because I don't remember the name of it. There it is, the Outrider. There's this thing. The Outrider grab platform. And everybody on the crew who has heard about these things are super excited for them. So basically, the driver sits in what is like a G-bike kind of configuration, with the back of the G-bike is attached to either what can be converted into a flatbed, or it's got 4 seats in the back. These things have a very fast speed. They cruise at fast. They're highly maneuverable, and they look like a lot of fun, and they are they're like an air raft, but super maneuverable. And so the crew's all excited about these things, and the Solomani, you can overhear the crew talking with the Solomani crew members that we could of course not everybody's going to be involved in this in the repair of these ships, right? So you're going to have all of these crew members that are essentially scientists or deckhands or whatever, and we're here on an exploration mission. So what we could do is we could take out one of these FAMAT 12 ATVs and 2 or 3 of these Outriders, and do an exploration scientific mission and see what's out there.
Makes sense.
So, where would you like to set down?
Are there any weird tides or anything we need to worry about in terms of being oceanside?
Not necessarily. So most of the ground, it does rain frequently here. This particular season, I wouldn't necessarily call it monsoon season. Light monsoons. The ocean, you're in orbit. You don't see anything like hurricanes developing or anything like that. But most of the ground up to the base of mountains, most of this ground seems to be rather bordering on marshy. Like right here, where these are fields of like 12-foot tall stalks of grass. The ground is soft and wet. So, like, if you drive an ATV through here, it's going to be slipping and sliding.
Maybe want to look at something that's got a little bit of elevation, but is close to water too. So,
sure,
like these foothills, maybe here, or I'm trying to think of maybe in here. Do another. I don't, unless you see something that looks appealing to you, Mel.
Well, if my choice is a marsh, There's no
Right.
sandy beaches, which is weird anywhere on the planet. It just
Um,
seems odd
some
because there's
some
no
of these
wave
I,
action, right?
some of these islands probably
I
have.
would say that there are sandy beaches on all of these, but the further you get inland, the more you're going to start to be seeing. Everything is kind of. You don't see any deserts anywhere. Everything is green. Like everywhere is green. Even some of the mountaintops, you see that the greenery is going all the way up until it starts to get to an elevation that it ceases to grow. It's a very green and watery planet.
Okay, and none of this shit seems to be moving, right? We aren't dealing with any of the.
So there are megaflora as well as the megafauna. So, I mean, the trees are huge, the grass is huge, the animals are huge. And there are a couple of creatures that are not necessarily concerning, but need to be watched out for.
Well, if there's no obvious ruins or things for us to explore, then, well, even though no one is actually going to be leaving, apparently, there's not going to be a I'm not saying mutiny, but an exodus. We still want to probably maximize R&R for our crew since we're going into the home stretch.
Yep, for sure.
Sure.
So I'm not saying one of these tiny ass little islands, but maybe I don't know.
Well,
Fauna
keep
that
in
are on islands
keep in
have a
mind that
tendency to be smaller.
these
So
little islands, one hex is 1,000 kilometers.
okay, well, fauna has a tendency to not be mega when it's on an island, right? Has a tendency to
No.
evolve smaller. So we aren't fucking with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So maybe one of the smaller islands if it's big enough to hold one of our ships and our crew.
So, like, are you talking like this small?
Is it big enough to entertain, have a bunch of luau's for a couple of ships' crews?
I would think, yeah. I mean, if each one of these is 1,000 kilometers, that island's not as small. I mean, this
I
island
would
right
say
here.
smaller is better than bigger, but that's my vote. I'm not married to the concept because no matter what, as soon as we land on this planet, something's fucking with us. I'm just thinking one of
I
both looks better.
anticipate it'll be just stupidity. Crew stupidity is what I'm assuming.
that because
Uh,
because that's what it's always been in the past.
yeah.
I mean, the crew of Deepnight Revelation is. I mean, they all came from a trailer park somewhere. So, you know, like I don't mean the nice trailer park either. So yeah, I mean, you could set down this island. I would say is probably I don't know, probably a good. Looks like it's probably about 200 kilometers, roughly in diameter. That would be more than enough to set down the three 2,000-ton ships and a number of shuttles and whatnot. I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's
then we
more than
can
enough space.
then we can let the air rafts go explore, and if they see a better spot to relocate to, we can do that.
Sure.
My concern with those little islands is that we're going to probably need natural resources for the repairs, and so I don't know that this little island in the middle of the ocean is going to be the best place to be for that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's why I was thinking in
Mining
here
in a
where,
marshy planet is going to be a fucking nightmare.
well, I mean, there's obviously a large ridge line of big mountains here, right? So, I mean, it's not all marsh, right? That's why
Right.
I was thinking.
Yeah. No. Like I said, like these big
Solid argument. Solid argument.
these big
But
fields and whatnot, like here and here. Like I said, it's borderline marsh. 6, 7 tall stalks of grass, 12 foot tall ferns and things like that. The ground itself is quite soft and wet, but it's still firm enough for you to walk around. You're not going to sink down into it. It's not a peat bog. if you drive an ATV through there, their wheels are going to slip a few times, and they might rock back and forth when they do find a, a, a covered over pond. But aside from that, um, they're not going to sink into it. It's not like a swamp. I
My
guess
only counter argument for landing near those mountains is it's not my ship that has to get fucking fixed. But that's the only argument I've got.
that's true. Yeah, so I mean, if you want to set up over here, you can, right there, or I don't know, maybe yeah, at the mouth of a river.
I think the only real worry there would be if there are natural predators there. And but I mean, let's set up and then we'll explore for natural predators. And if it's a bad idea, we'll move.
Sure. So part of this, there is of course the ships come down, and of course they start to immediately set up basically work gantries around these ships, not more like a makeshift dry dock kind of thing, scaffolds and things like that. So that part's getting constructed, and naturally, the first part of this is going to be putting those J drives under a microscope and really trying to knuckle down. Now, your engineering crews, they just not too long ago did this for Revelation. Of course, they had an actual dry dock, which is why it's going to take 3 to 4 months, is because they don't have an actual dry dock. They're having to kind of
Right.
makeshift this, but it is Revelation is more than capable of using their manufactories
Yeah.
to construct this stuff.
We've done this a
Aren't
few
we
times, and this is a smaller one that we need to make.
Right.
right? Aren't we big enough to be a dry dock for a ship their size,
I mean,
or at least a platform?
yeah, I mean 75,000 tons versus 2,000 tons. These guys are. I mean, you've got windows on your ship that are as big as their bridge, but um, as far as you guys acting, it's not like you could pull one into your docking bay. Like your docking bays, their limit is like roughly 200 tons. You can knock a wall out and maybe increase that to 600 tons, but that's really pushing it. So 2,000 tons, these guys aren't going to be able to necessarily come in and into your hangars and dock. And so, having them on the ground is probably a more stable platform. So, it, the crew are of course. How do you want to set up R&R?
I think in the past we did teams where somebody is R&Ring and there's one or two people that are basically just doing Overwatch to kind of make sure they're safe and secure.
Yep,
And
you've done that in the past several times.
I think that's still a good idea, that we want to have, you know, the idea that, it's like your designated driver when you go out to the bar. You can have a great time because that one guy is paying attention to everything.
Right?
And
Yes.
And so
You
I
hope.
like, well, yeah, you hope, but I mean, I think that's probably our strongest suggestion, especially since we're going to have blended R&R probably with other crew members from other crew. And so I think as long as we got a couple people, maybe 4 people on R&R and 2 people on Overwatch, and just sort of have that be the common
The common
solution.
thread. Okay.
Yeah.
So part of this, of course, they are setting up this this research mission with both science teams from both crews are kind of have gotten together, and they've come up with this research mission where they're going to take out one of the FAMAT 12s and 3 of these Outrider graph platforms, and they are planning to do a essentially a 4-day excursion. So 4 days, they're not going to travel too far, but they'll see how far they can get, and they want to do soil samples and uh, you know fauna sample or flora samples, maybe some fauna samples, and basically just collect a bunch of stuff. But I mean, you guys aren't stupid. Mostly, this is an excuse to go four wheeling and
Yeah,
flying the grab platforms. And so the question then is, do you want to be a part of that mission, or do you want to remain at camp, focusing on the ships?
I'd like to be at camp focusing on ships. Other people might do other things.
Okay. What about you, Mel?
I think with my jump drive skill, it's where I'm best suited.
My skills are in power, um, life support,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
they could
but
probably use some work on in that regard as well. Can you imagine what the CO2 scrubbers would look like on a 2010 ship after 8 years of a no dry dock? Like, holy
yeah.
shit.
So mine are in M drive, power, and life support. However, we have a bunch of knuckleheads, and they probably are going to fuck up if we leave them on their own.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, you do have. I don't know. Yeah, you don't necessarily have as many knuckleheads as you once did. It's up to you guys. I mean, if you want to stick around, like I said, you can assist in repairing the ships, or you can or
I figure that anything that's really bad is going to get called into camp anyway. So,
right. And there's more of those outrider grab platforms, so you can just grab one, or one of your Vendaras. I mean, either way. All right. So, uh, go ahead and make a. Why don't we have Sarda? You can start off with a engineering J drive check plus
sure.
intellect or education, and Mel, you can make a. Did you say power and life support you had?
I have M drive, power, and life support.
I mean, he's got it all. The +3.
Right.
You know,
Go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and make a engineering power plus intellect or education?
I rolled really well, so I got a 15 on Jadra.
Nice, nice. Yeah, you both rolled exceptionally. So you you in the first day, Sarda, you are able to identify the problem. It is the exact same issue that Revelation ran into, and of course this because there was already the patchwork that was done on the RSS Frank Wild. You're actually looking at their flagship, which is the Atherke. And it's a little weird to call it the flagship because it's exactly the same class as the other two. But it exactly the same problem, and you identify it on the Atherke and on the Leonard Husey. And so all three of these ships are basically suffering from the same. Essentially, it comes down to a lack of maintenance and
Yeah.
and wear and tear. I can't. I mean, I don't know, but I can't imagine that a jump drive would have too many moving parts. But I have seen what happens to like copper and low grade metal with a constant electrical charge, and there is there is quite a bit of burn off, and so um, yeah, you're essentially looking at that. Mel's able to in his basic estimate of both ships. This takes you about, well, between the two of you, it takes you about 3 days to basically go over all three of these ships and identify the problems. And Mel, you discover that there are a number of power failures and shorts, and this one grav plate in one of the decks of one of the ships is flickering, and so every once in a while, instead of being at 1G, it drops down to like 0.8G, and then it goes back up. It's flickering on and off, and that's annoying. And you find all these little minor situations during this time. It takes them about a day or two to get things situated and ready to go. But the at the end of this 3 days, you get a report in from the ATV excursion, and
Okay.
they explain that let's see, they've taken a number of samples. They've done some preliminary analysis using the grav vehicles to map the area. So you got a bunch of yahoos up there cutting cookies in the air, saying it's a preliminary analysis. They mapped the area in quite a bit of detail, and they ended up parking the ATV for the rest of the day, and essentially just using the labs and going over the work. Um, they they had a problem with one of the Solomani members, in that the team had discovered they wanted to capture a couple of local animals, and they were trying to um, essentially come up with the best way of doing it. They didn't want to kill them; they wanted to observe them alive. But in the discussion, they had to stop. Um, this guy's name is Daniel Ryder, and um, he's trigger happy. His idea was to pull out a big gun and just start shooting the animals and dragging them back.
Sure.
And
Why
they
not?
right, yeah, and so and he has been kind of a problem. Since the expedition left, he's already shot a number of animals that they are, of course, planning on. They're going to barbecue them. They're going to have a big feast at the end of the day. But this guy is kind of being a pain in the ass, and they kind of pushed him out of the circle of discussion, stopped him from killing them, and so now he's kind of he's being a pouty baby about it, and just kind of being bitchy, and he's kind of sour and grouchy anyways. But that's the only issue that they've run into so far. And the expedition leader in his report reports back that he thinks that any bad blood that's there will probably um, it'll wash away with a couple of beers and a good barbecue tonight. So he's not overly concerned about it. Next day, so you having identified the problems immediately, the rest of you were able to get your engineering crews working on these things. Estimate that the repairs to the J drive are probably only going to estimate each ship probably about a week in total. Um, and they think that they can get each ship being a week. It's not going to take 3 weeks. They think they can get all three done in like a week and a half. Because your crews are going to have to teach the Solomani crews what they know, and etc. So in about a week and a half, they'll be able to get all three ships' J drives kind of fixed. The power problem, of course, if you know anything about doing electronics on vehicles, is that's going to take like 3 weeks for all three ships, because you're going to have to dig through conduit, and you're going to have to go through the interior walls of the hull, all of this stuff. It's going to be a pain in the butt. And so they're estimating that the electrics problems are going to take about 3 weeks, but they have crews working on that as well. So what is the next engineering thing that you would like to work on, Mr. Sarda?
They had problems with their maneuver drive as well, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, we should probably look at that. I'm not. Mel's gonna be far better at that than I will.
Okay, so Mel, you can make a engineering M drive plus intellect or education.
So I have a 0+1.
Holy
Oof.
balls.
Wow.
Critical.
They clearly use a different system than you're familiar with.
Yes. It's all ball bearings these days, boys. Hey.
So Mel pops the hood and he's like, "I ain't never seen an engine like this before." Like, no, I mean it's clearly it's this it is basically the same drive. All M drives essentially work the same way. And I used to have a great picture for this, but I'm not going to go bothering to look it up. But there is a actual graphic in the what is it, Starship Operators Manual of essentially how a maneuver drive works, and it's basically the same as on a like a grav vehicle, just on a bigger situation. But they're all the same, and so you're having a hard time identifying what the problem, and you're estimating that worse than you not being able to find what the problem is. You're estimating that it could be different on each of the three ships, which could take much longer. So while Mel's working on that, what are you up to, Sada?
I'll take a look at the sensors and check the electronics.
Okay, go ahead and make a electronic sensors plus intellect or education.
12.
Ooh. So their sensors are actually pretty good. Let me bring their ship back up. I have a question about their ship. Tenzig-class. They have improved extended arrays, enhanced signal processing. They have a life scanner analysis. Just out of curiosity, take so Deepnight has two advanced distributed arrays. So it basically is like their extended arrays, except that it covers the entire ship. Um, they've got a because this is useful for us research military countermeasure suite. Two of them, just in case you have to, you know, uh, do some jamming. They've got two enhanced signal processors, mineral detection suite. They've got a life scanner analysis suite, deep penetration scanners, integrated long range sensor array. That's where your telescopes are sitting, and a gravitational analysis suite. So yeah, okay. I was just saying if these might have a little bit better of stuff, but evidently not. But these are great for being able to land on a planet. So yeah, you're finding that their sensors are pretty good. They might need some minor adjustments, but aside from that, the sensors seem to be one of the better functioning things on the ship. Day 2 of the excursion, you get a report. The report says that the 12-wheeled FAMAT 12 ATV makes light work of most obstacles, and it's not overly difficult to drive. Um, it's a very stable platform, enabling crew members to sleep in their bunks or work without being thrown around the compartment. It is noted that there is some bumping and bustle as opposed to using like the Grav ATV that you guys have. But aside from that, the crew is having honestly a good time driving this thing.
Well,
Occasionally, it is found that there is an obstacle that the ATV cannot easily cope with. But usually, the onboard sensor suite gives an adequate warning. So they have to stop work, strap in for a little bit, and then they go for the hardcore 4-wheel drive ride, and then they're out, or in this case 12-wheel drive ride. But the FAMAT 12, the analysis that your crew members are sending back is that this thing is pretty awesome. Um, Still, the ability for your vehicle. I forget the name of it. Oh, you have a wheeled vehicle as well. I thought you had.
you're the warthog. Oh,
Right. Yes. So so there
Oh, I want to learn to fly that. If we have a warthog,
so there is this, of course, the Vendara, which is essentially a more or less a grav ATV. Of course, this is what you guys have pretty much used whenever you needed the grav
that
ability.
looks like that looks like that discount Japanese pickup truck that
Yes, yes,
can, can be modified like 15 different ways.
yes. Good for hauling bales of hay or carrying a 50 millimeter light autocannon. So this is usually what you use. Of course, it doesn't have to worry about too many obstacles unless you have a pilot that's not real great at it. Um, you also have another ATV that your crews have been using. And the Solomani are showing some interest in trying out maybe a exchange program of the like. But this is the Ardent, and it basically operates the same way. It's just not bifurcated. This thing is a little bit more like a tank, though. It is a more or less a repurposed tank. And so the crew are sending back that have gone on with this FAMAT 12. They're like, yeah, I mean, it makes light work of everything. And honestly, they're in their opinion, the segmented section in the middle of the FAMAT 12 has some versatility that the Ardent doesn't. In that it sometimes you can turn one direction and kind of jackknife that center section, giving you actually more traction to pull out. And so they're giving thumbs up to the FAMAT 12, and it still they're saying it still gives a smooth ride until it doesn't. Um, Other than that, they've gathered yet more samples. The grav platforms have been sent out to investigate rock formations, small lakes, larger watercourses, and other minor points of interest. And aside from that, work continues on. No problems with Daniel Ryder, and things are going well. So, what is the next thing that you guys want to focus on for the ships? Oh, well, I guess Mel needs to make um, another M drive check.
you sure about that?
I'm rolling +1. You're rolling plus at least 3. So yeah,
Ugh.
I mean it passed.
Yeah, at least you got an 8. So you are able to identify the issues um, with the M drives. It's not as bad as you thought. So they're not all vastly different. They're all tied to the same subsystems, but each ship has slightly different. It's manifesting in slightly different ways. And so, fixing the M drives, you're looking at probably at least 2.5 weeks worth of work on two of these ships. In your estimation, compared to what the reports are that you've seen from SARTA coming from the J drives, in your estimation, the M drives might actually be the worst of the two systems. And it just hasn't really come around much because, in all actuality, um, they haven't been landed. They haven't had to land the ships very often until recently, and so um, this is this is now you're like
Do
it's
they
good.
only jump when they're in system, or they don't go under M drive in system?
They do go under M drive in system, but when what you're seeing is that these will really act up when you're landing on a planet, and so
or refueling at a gas
or
giant.
refueling in a gas. The essentially what you're finding is that these ships. It's good that you found these problems now because if they were to balloon, it would be way worse than the problem with the jump drive, and more immediate. I mean, the jump drive is only a problem if you jump. The M drive's a problem like right now all the time. So, I mean, six one way, half dozen the other. It's good that you found the problem, but it's going to take probably 2.5 weeks of work on just the M drive. And the crews that would be working on the M drive are currently working on the J drive. So that's an issue.
In my off time, I'm going to be trading media for media.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
It,
So
which may cause problems for the. I don't know how because that's something that I would think I'll actually bring it up with the woman that was in charge of the secret.
okay,
The
so bring it up with the
Yeah,
Frank Wilds political officer.
correct, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to give people a bunch of contraband that'll immediately get them all in trouble. So
That's a really good question. I
I'll just let her
They're
look through it.
decadent capitalist swine.
I'll let her look through the collection first and decide which is appropriate for people to watch.
so it's been so I have not read. I have the Solomani front. I have not read through this book the entire way. I and it's not that it's a bad book. It's just I got through. I think the first part into the Confederation territory, and my eyes were going to cross. I was like, oh my god! Like it does read a lot like the history books, textbooks from high school that were already like 10 years out of date when we got them. Let's see. So let's. Why don't I?
And I'll just let her know. Hey, I was not at all discriminatory. I basically have grabbed anything and everything that I could get my hands on as we have gone through civilized cultures. So there is all kinds of stuff in here that may or may not be appropriate for your crew. And I don't want to get anyone in trouble before I begin trading and distributing some of this stuff. But when you've been in space as long as we have,
You run out of porn.
a big movie
Yes.
collection really helps.
Yep, you run out of porn.
A friend that was an intelligence officer in a submarine, he goes, "There's a lot of power if you're the only one that controls what comes in and out of the ship via
Right.
internet."
That's right. That's right. So she kind of she laughs and she kind of does. You haven't really had a whole lot of interaction with her
Right.
since the Frank Wild mutiny, and so at
Yeah.
first when you approach her with this conundrum, she's the look on her face is like a little bit stunned that after everything that happened that you would be coming to her asking her about this, and it also she kind of laughs when you bring it up, and you can almost see her kind of relax, and she says she laughs and she says, well, she says, so this must be more of the Volani propaganda that goes around the Third Imperium. She says, we're not, she goes, the Solomani Confederation, in all actuality, is not as locked down as as the Third Imperium would have you believe.
Well, it's mostly respect for your position, understanding what your job was,
Right,
and
and she
I didn't want
appreciates
to,
it. She just
and I don't want to undercut your.
right, and she appreciates that, but she does at the same time kind of find it funny because there is this propagandist angle that, of course, the Third Imperium pushes that the Solomani Confederation is a bunch of socialists, and they have political officers, and you better not say the wrong thing. She says, no, it's not really. She says honestly, it's not that bad until you are in the military or in a high-ranking political position, and then everything is really put under a microscope. But beyond that, the average person, we have all sorts of television programs and movies, and none of it has to go through state media in order um, to be scrutinized. There is, of course, state media run news stations, but everybody has that, and that's pretty normal. And so she just kind of laughs. She wants to know if she can look over your programming that you have
Sure,
for trade. So
sure, she sure. A
she
lot. Some of this is
She is
alien
also
stuff.
out of porn.
Some of this is alien stuff with no real translations. It's kind of wacky, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
So she goes over it, and she particularly finds the the drama commercial, the infomercial dramas from the Valks. She finds quite amusing, and she's she watches one on her mobile com for a moment, and she just starts laughing. She goes, "This whole thing is nothing but advertisement for them to sell, common household appliances and basically and air conditioners and vacuum cleaners." And she just kind of laughs. She says, "Evidently, you guys have had a more amusing journey than we have." She says, "I'll just put it that way."
The funny thing is, the main sales point I had with trading with them was that this was they could take all the content I provided and inject a billion ads in it, and so they're going to be taking Imperium television shows with all kinds of weird, wacky alien ads all through it now. Yeah, so yeah, it was pretty good. And I'm like, I personally am a big fan of all these jet ski movies from out of the island.
Yes, the jet ski movies from the islands. I forgot about those. Baywatch in the island
That's right.
subsector.
That's right. That's right.
Bunch of people
Right.
in a bunch of blondes, but they're all in vac suits, slow motion running between spaceships in orbit. And so yeah, so she is perfectly um happy to allow for a trade of media. They don't have a whole bunch of media.
Yeah, sure.
Probably like a quarter of what you've collected, but then they didn't think to pick up every little bit and piece like you did moving along. You've picked up everything from every culture you've run across, and so a lot of this stuff is probably going to be very much appreciated by the crew. Simply because it's going to be in a language that they understand, for one. It's going to be mostly about topics that they understand. I mean, it might be from a different political entity, but it's still charted space topics.
We've
And
been doing movie night for years, and so I've got my reviews and blurbs about some of the things we've watched in the past. So
yes,
I'll pass that out as well.
yes, and so and so yeah, she's really happy with that. And you get a glut of data that comes in of nothing but movies and TV, complete series of TV shows. She she said that that she and the other political officers before the mission left, she made sure that they didn't bring in any television series that hadn't completed yet, because they didn't they, they didn't want the crew to run into a morale issue, because we got to the end of season 5 of something, and now we're going to have to wait the next 20 years before we can see season 6 to see how everything ended. And so they were very careful about that. But yeah, you get a bunch of information. Um, Now, reports from day 3. First, I need to make a couple of checks here. See, that didn't turn out. Yeesh. Okay, so that's not as bad as I. Oof. Okay. So, day 3 report comes in, and the uh, report is that there have been minor injuries throughout. Everybody suffered 3 points of damage. The ATV was attacked by what they're referring to as an Apex 4 predator. It is a big lizardy uh, thing. These are its stats. And so this thing basically ran up and attacked the ATV, thinking that it was a, not ever having seen one before. It probably thought it was another creature or another predator, and it rammed it and tipped it over. Like, I mean, it didn't just ram it; it hit it a couple times, and then the last time it just kept pushing until it rolled it over, and then proceeded to try to attack the belly, as an animal would do. And everybody inside the ATV that wasn't hanging on took some damage. Luckily, they had just gone over a bumpy patch, and so everybody was strapped in. So everybody only took 3 to 4 points of damage when the whole thing went over. But come to find out, Daniel Ryder saved the day, and took up a big hunting rifle and shot it dead. And so the report is that with the crew, they performed some first aid on the crew, and they will be using the Outrider graph platforms to right the ATV, the FAMAT 12, and they are hoping to make some quick repairs, and then they are going to be making their way back to camp. They are
Mr. Big Game Hunter
they
paid
are
off.
estimated to be back by tomorrow. So yeah, the funny thing about this is that this Daniel Ryder, who was the pain in the asshole wanting to kill everything, thankfully he wanted to kill something, because because otherwise, who knows how that would have turned out.
As long as they got it on video.
Right? Yes. I actually thought Now, see, this is really weird. So that's really weird. So I I had uploaded. This was what, last week. I uploaded these pictures, and Roll20 has deleted them for like no apparent.
Sometimes I find that they put them in weird places.
Well,
You've
there's
got
that.
no folders. You've got no folders here, so this is a mess.
It is an absolute disaster. Well, and
I mean, it's
the reason why I didn't bother to put in folders is because there's really no point to it, because Roll20 has never come out with any kind of decent file management system. So even if you have the folders, when you open up a folder and it's just a pile of whatever has
yeah,
been put in there.
it doesn't alphabetize or anything like that.
Yeah,
You gotta start it.
it's awful. It is absolute garbage.
So
Um,
I have found that lots of folders and make sure that they make sense nesting wise, and that works pretty well. But it still can be tricky for with a big campaign.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, this thing is actually. So this picture's still there. This is video footage of the Apex 4 attacking the ATV.
Nice. And he's up being held in the arm with his giant gun out
Right. Yes.
above the ATV.
Yes. Yes. And so, to give you an idea of what it looks like around camp, like there are large flying creatures. I mean, everything on this planet is big. It's all very, very large. This this guy up here, that's probably him with with the big ass rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so Daniel Ryder was able to save the day, and the ATV crew and the three Outriders are planning to be back by sundown tomorrow. They're not going to stop for any more sample collections. They've got injured. They want to get back to camp so that they can get some people properly looked at up at med bays and probably shuttle them up to the ships or up to Revelation.
Sure.
What is the next thing that you guys want to look at on as far as repair work? Is there anything else, or do you want to, like, did you want to look at life support systems on these three?
I mean, we probably should,
Probably a
right?
solid idea.
Probably want to look at everything, frankly.
So whoever wants to make an engineering life support plus intellect or education can.
I've
Let
got
me
a plus.
roll higher than a fucking 2, please.
I've got a +1, so it's on you.
Jesus.
Hey, you rolled higher than a 2. I got a 3. No, 5.
That's still enough. I mean, the life support systems are actually in good working order. They do need a good cleaning. Which this is a good spot because you've got access to fresh water. So that's all.
Probably a lot of filters.
A lot of filters need to be cleaned out. CO2 scrubbers, things like that. What did Sarda want to work on?
I can look at comms, I guess. I'm not fantastic, but
Sure.
well.
Nice. So the comms, so with a 13, being in their comm systems, the comm systems seem to be working fairly well. You find a couple of antennas that need to be adjusted, but beyond that, the comm systems are working well. You find in these comm systems a number of Solomani Confederation protocols.
Copy them.
Including protocols that would be used for transmission of, say, like classified information. Now, of course, most of that is usually going to be done tight beam, but you have access to the protocols. Now, what you decide you want to do with it, that's up to you.
Frankly, I'll probably leave it. Right? It's not. I mean, yeah, I'll leave it alone.
Okay. So, comm systems and life support both are probably going to take about 2 days worth of work. So, all in all, it's not as bad as the 3 month time frame. Uh, you're probably going to be okay. You're looking at about 7 weeks.
Okay, well, that's great.
So, in that time, um, find. Never mind. I don't have that. So in that time, the you get a call down from Deepnight Revelation. So
Okay,
another part of this, while these ships are being worked on and built, or rebuilt, is that the Solomani Confederation kind of tells you that they had a plan for moving forward, and they kind of had a little bit more of a uh, a little bit more of a glance ahead than perhaps Revelation did. I mean, you guys didn't know what was going to happen. You weren't sure that you were even going to make it across the Great Rift, right? So
yeah,
these guys were always along the rimward side, anyways, and so they kind of had a little bit more foresight. But they're not exactly positive. But they believe that a particular rendezvous point that they had posted was like 65% sure that there was fuel there. Now, the Deep Night Revelation scientists aren't exactly happy with a 65% of chance of getting gas, right? So they're like, is there fuel there? 65% is not something I don't want to gamble with, because if you jump there and there isn't fuel, then you're stuck and you got to figure a way out of that, and that's just a big pain in the ass. So the Deep Night Revelation has kind of done a two-pronged situation. That's why they're radioing down to you. The first idea that the captain in the XO has come up with, along with the captain of the Afrique, is that they want to send you guys in one of the scout ships ahead, um, for 4 parsecs. So the Destinex can actually make two parsec jumps in a row. So two
right,
weeks
right,
before it has to refuel. So they want you to jump ahead and see if there's a gas giant there. Now, of course, if there is not, that would mean that you guys would have to do some kind of wilderness refueling, like on a comet or an asteroid with ice or something. It's not impossible for you. It's easier for you to do it than it is to do two capital ships, or I mean, 2,000 tons isn't really a capital ship, but it's easier for you than it is for Revelation or the Frank Wild.
sure.
And to check that out, the second prong of that is that the science division has been pointing all of Deep Night Revelation's telescopes in that direction. They have raised it to a 70% chance that there is a gas giant there, but of even greater interest is that they have picked up a repeating signal.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And it appears to be a so in Volani terms they call it a signal GK, which would be an SOS. This which in Solomani terms would be an SOS. This appears to be an old Earth style SOS signal.
Whoa. And these guys haven't been through here before, have they? I mean, unless it's their ship that took off to the end
So
of the.
yeah, from going all the way back to what was it, the Terran hegemony, the old Earth hegemony, something like that. Before the Solomani Confederation, a bunch of ships came out this direction. In fact, that's how you found the mist jumps from the that formed the Grand Republic, and um, uh, the other polities in the far side of nowhere. That's how they got here. There were a couple of missions that were sent before that even, and so none of them ever returned. And the Solomani Confederation before now, before the Solomani Confederation, the old Earth hegemony was mostly run by corporations. And so you had all these different corporations that kind of made up the government. And because they're corporations and the very nature of how corporations interact with one another, they were all each doing shit that they wouldn't tell anybody else about. And so who knows what's out here? But this signal that's coming in is a repeating SOS signal in the style of old Earth.
Yeah, like someone jumped into a system hoping that there was fuel and couldn't find any, and so set up a recurring SOS.
Right.
And now we're about to jump into the same system and also be screwed.
Right. Yes, there's that.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you guys shuttle on back up to Revelation.
We'll ask if anybody else wants to be stranded with us.
Yeah, I mean, did you want to take some other people with you?
Yeah, I'll let them know we're going to be doing a field mission. We have no idea what's going to happen. There's a 30% chance we're going to be stranded without being able to leave.
Right.
If anybody'd like to get to know us better, I can't think of a better opportunity than being stranded forever.
Yeah, you're such a positive commander. So, yeah, you get well, one of the people that decides to come along is Daniel Ryder from the ATV mission.
There's no big game, man. I don't know. This seems like your planet, dude.
Well, and he kind of laughs at that and he says, well, you don't know what's sending that SOS. Maybe there is some big game. Maybe there is something that needs to be shot. Your immediate feeling about this guy is that he is he's young, he's bored. He's been bored with this mission, and maybe just a little bit grumpy about being bored. It's like he doesn't have enough to do, and so he could potentially. He reminds you a lot of Alex Venati when you first met her. The Duke of Tobias' great niece that you guys brought on.
Right. Yeah.
So he reminds you a lot of her, and so but he reminds you of her before she got her shit together, and so he has some potential to be a pain in the ass. Aside from that, yeah, I mean you get a couple of scientists from, of course, the science division. They're interested in examining, getting a first look at whatever's out there. Again, they're kind of bored with all the repairs going on. They don't have anything really to do except look through a telescope, and it would be better to just be there rather than to look from afar. And so you get them, and you get like one other scientist from the Solomani. So you've got 4 scientists and Daniel Ryder that are all hanging around your common area as you guys take off. And Pappy goes ahead and launches you guys. Who wants to make an astrogation check? Or is that Pappy as well?
I think a few of us are good at it.
I got it too, I think.
Yeah, you can add your education to that.
I do.
Yeah, I'm only rolled a 2, so go for it.
And I've got a skill level of 2, so I probably...
You're doing pretty good. You're as good as me at jet drives.
Woo.
Nice. That crushed it.
All right, so
that's a roll you don't want to screw up, though. Frankly,
yeah, astrogation. Yes. So whoever wants to make the engineering J drive plus intellect or education, you get a +3 to that.
There you go. That's the one. That's my specialty. +3, huh?
Yep.
Ooh, I rolled poorly, but 13.
Nice. You guys are 1 week in jump. You can add a week to your study periods, whatever it is
Okay.
that you are studying.
Okay, I'm at 8.
Yes, you can make. So, what are you studying?
Investigate. This is my first of 2 periods.
Okay, go ahead and make an. Do you have investigate at all?
I do.
Go ahead and make an investigate plus education check.
Just been watching nonstop Columbo movies, TV show.
Yes, he's been watching Columbo and Hawaii Five O like nonstop, and a few episodes of Law and Order. So I brought up to my wife. We've been watching the Law and
Oh,
Order
fuck
channel.
me.
Are you serious? You know what though? You get a +1 for the training program. So that's
What's
an
your
eight.
rank in it? What's your rank in that skill?
Uh,
Is it 1
I
going
am
on 2 or is it 0 going on 1?
it's 0 going on 1.
Okay.
So you have investigate 0 right now.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
So if you had 1
So,
going on 2, you'd get a plus
but
1.
you get a +1 for the training software. So that makes it an 8. Um, and
It's
so
funny.
you don't have to do two periods. From 0 to 1 is only one 8-week period. So you
Oh.
get investigate 1 now.
Yeah.
You succeeded because of the training program. I was gonna say how did that happen? Um, so anyways, yeah, you guys jump. You can add a bonus or a week to your training. How far are you along?
I'm 1 week away.
Okay, so
And if I make that roll, that will give me the vac suit 3.
just to be thorough, go ahead and make another astrogation check. Astrogation plus intellect or education.
Make sure we are where you thought we would be.
Perfect. And then go ahead and make another J drive plus intellect or education. You get to add a +1 to that.
That's you, J Drive.
Oh, sorry. Just got a text. Bum, bum, bum. Skills.
Nice. So you can add yet another week because this is your second jump. So you
Okay,
get
so
another.
what should I start studying? Because since I rolled over, unless I want to put more into investigate, I don't know what else I should put points in. This late in the game.
I don't know. There's probably at least another 8. There's probably time to learn another skill.
Nice. So I
All right,
improved
then
that
I am going
3.
to take medic from 1 to 2, so I need 2 periods for that, right?
Correct. So you'll make a roll at the end of the first 8-week period, and then you'll make a roll at the end of the second, which saves you from losing everything.
All right.
All right. So
I
you
think I'll start athletics dexterity.
excellent. That's always a good one to have, especially if you want to throw a grenade.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that may come up.
Well, I mean, it should always come up. Grenades are always handy. So you make your second jump coming out a week later, or second week. You come out of jump, and you come into a system. There is a gas giant here. That's the first thing you
Collective sigh of relief from the
yeah,
whole crew.
you wait with bated breath as that sensor ping comes back in, and there is a gas giant there. I mean, you can visually see it, and so there is a collective sigh of relief, and you are picking up the ping of a ship. Go ahead and make an electronic sensors plus intellect or education.
Sure.
Show you what the ship looks like.
+2 for the ship makes it 17.
That is perfect. Yeah, it's coming in at a that the sensors are reading it pretty clearly as a 600-ton ship, or in the 600-ton range.
Well, radio.
So radioing it, you get no response, but it does have a an IFF.
Does that? I mean, obviously we're getting a signal, but I mean, does it have? Otherwise, are we detecting power? Are we too far away and need to get closer?
You are detecting that there is power aboard. Your sensors, with that sensor reading, you are detecting EM readings that there is power aboard, and that. But it seems like it is in the low range. Like a lot of the ship is in standby. And
Right.
the ping that's coming back is that the ship is registering as the Tanmis in all capital letters. Is how it is coming back and being registered.
Okay. Does it seem like a ship format that we're familiar with, or like it might be Imperium, or it might be a different?
You've never seen a vessel of this classification. This is a new one for you. This is what it looks like.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's obvious to you that this is. I mean, as soon as you start to get visual on it, it's pretty obvious to you that this is some kind of transport, utility ship, tramp freighter. I mean, you've looking at it, you've seen hundreds of different classifications of this type of ship in charted space. You've never seen one exactly like this, but looking at it, you can pretty much tell it could be, a tramp freighter, it could be a smuggler. But you're getting your readings are that the EM signature coming from it, it has power, and it is low, so that it seems like most of it is put into standby, and but you're not getting any return broadcast when you hail it.
All right. Well, when we get closer, we can start scanning for life signs, that kind of thing.
Okay, well, we will pick that up next week on Friday night at 6 o'clock.
All right, cool.
Sounds good. This our big game hunter, I have a feeling is gonna.
He's going to cause some excitement.
Yeah, I'm picturing something along the lines of aliens. Bill Paxton's character.
Shoot him up, pow, pow, pow.
It's all over, man.
Exactly. I've got that feeling right now going into this, but we'll see what happens.
All right, well, I will see you guys next week, and we will discover what's aboard the Tamnus.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Cool,
man.
thanks. It was fun.
You're welcome. Have a good night.